For as long as I live, I will never forget the look in that man's eyes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And no, I'm not pausing that, because that deadpan stare is forever ingrained in my psyche. Hi, I'm Kevin Pierce, lifelong Celtics fan, and this is Game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, also known as LeBron's Game 6. So this is gonna be hard for younger audiences to understand, but at the time, LeBron kinda had a reputation of a playoff choker. Now, how fair was that reputation? He was 3 MVPs in, but it's year 9, he didn't have a ring. Also, keep in mind that he's high school phenom LeBron James, supposed to be Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan combined, and here we are almost a decade later, he's ringless. So keep that in mind throughout the rest of this video. He had the 48 special against the Pistons in 06, the same year that he ended up taking the worst team to ever make the NBA Finals to the Finals, but he got swept by the Spurs. And the year before was the 2011 Finals against Dallas, where one of those games he scored a whopping 8 points and was scared to back down JJ Barea, so that was pretty fresh in everybody's mind. Plus the media backlash against him for going to Miami in the first place, the Decision TV special, the press conference when he first got there, coming out the ground like they're the Beatles, not 1, not 2, not 3. Y'all know the press conference. This is also like the first year of First Take, so Skip Bayless is firmly establishing himself as the biggest LeBron hater in the world, and ESPN ratings, y'all know how that goes. So there's just this perfect storm of negativity that really collapsed on just constantly targeting LeBron, who was the biggest star in basketball at the time. With all due respect to Kobe Bryant and Tim Duncan. And an added layer of that spiciness is that the Celtics and LeBron hated each other. I don't care what they say now that they're old, they hated each other. And naturally, that spilled over to the rest of the Heat too, because they following their captain in the battle. Let Celtics fans tell it, the Big Three ran LeBron out of Cleveland and forced him to run to Miami. Let LeBron fans tell it, the Big Three was formed just to beat LeBron in the first place. I think there's an aspect of truth and an aspect of lies to both of those things, and I say that as a Celtics fan. But what really jazzed it up is the Celtics win Game 5 because Paul Pierce hits a dagger 3 with like 40 seconds left in the game and talks cash to LeBron, allegedly saying, I say allegedly because he never confirmed this, I got you 5, 6, 7 right here. Obviously referring to that insane press conference they had when they got introduced to the Miami fans. And if you know LeBron, you know the big word is the button. That's the button where he goes too far. So think about it. The Celtics are up 3-2. They're coming back home to the Garden. They are fully convinced that they have broken LeBron James, who everyone thought was a choker already. It's a wrap. The Heatles was a failure. That's what they get for being so overly cocky. This is why players don't control their movement. Somebody, Chris Bosh, was gonna get traded. Let's go close these bums out and go to the finals. Or so I thought. Game day comes. It's ESPN, it's Mike Breen, it's Jeff Van Gundy, you know, the gang, they're doing their thing. And something's off with LeBron. And I don't think ESPN picked up on it at first because they put the camera on him. I mean, it's ESPN, duh. But no one pointed out that he looked like, to this day, it's hard to piece together how to really describe the look in his eyes with words other than murderous. For my anime fans, I imagine that LeBron's look is what Dragon Ball Super uses the inspiration for Ultra Instinct Goku. And in my mind, before I rewatched the game for this video, I thought it started immediately. But no, he actually missed the first jumper. He didn't miss many, but he missed the first one. And then his next one was like an assist to Mario Chalmers. It starts off so calm for about the first 3 minutes. And then LeBron rips a rebound off the rim, full blown sprints down the other end of the floor, right past Paul Pierce, and yum, slams it, not on KG, but like in his general direction, you know what I mean? And usually when LeBron does something like that, he lets out this giant Viking warrior yell. The man's been in our lives for 20 years at this point. Y'all know the yell I'm talking about. This time, nothing. Not a smirk, not a smile, not a reaction, nothing. Kind of like that Kawhi meme, but looks less miserable, and it keeps going. Mid-range jumper, layup, and one. Still nothing. What the hell? What's wrong with this guy? Everyone yells when they get an and one. You yell and one when you get an and one and pick up, whether they fouled you or not. So now I'm sitting there in my living room befuddled, because I don't know what's wrong with this guy. And before I can gather my next thought, he hits another three. So now the first quarter's over. I'm sitting here contemplating my life. LeBron got 14. We only scored 16. I have no idea what's going on outside of just heinous amounts of buckets. I couldn't imagine what it must have felt like to be in the building that day. Luckily, we don't have to because we have an excerpt from someone who was in the building that day. We will get to that later. Second quarter starts. Avalanche continues. He rattles off what felt like 10 straight buckets, ends the first half with 30 points. Now we're only down 13, but it might as well have been 1,000 because the game was over already. It was a wrap. Second half, more of the same. I'm not gonna keep going minutia by minutia, beat by beat. If you're watching this, you know how the game ended. Obviously we lost. And the perception of LeBron James just flipped overnight. And everybody knew, even in the moment, this isn't hindsight, everyone knew we weren't gonna win Game 7. Everyone knew it. They knew it was a wrap right then and there. But before we get there, remember I told y'all we got an excerpt from someone who was in the building. This is from a Mr. William John Simmons III, aka Bill of podcast 30 for 30 fame. He was in TD Garden that day. And he said the following. It was like watching a surveillance video of a serial killer coldly dismembering a body and sticking the parts in a fridge, only we were right there. You can't imagine what it was like to witness in person. I know Michael Jordan had similarly astonishing games and others too, but not with the stakes like that. This wasn't just an elimination game. This was LeBron James' entire career being put on trial. And it only took an hour for him to tell the jury, quote, "Go home. I'm one of the best players ever. Stop picking me apart. Stop talking about the things I can't do. Stop holding me to standards that have never been applied to other NBA players. Stop blaming me for an admittedly dumb decision I never should have made. Stop saying I'm weak. Stop saying I don't want to win. Stop. Just stop." Damn, I wish Bill still wrote, because that's so good. Unquote. As I mentioned before, Heat wins Game 7 by 1,000,000. But before we finish the LeBron part, the part that always goes underreported about this game is the Celtics part, because it is the last great Celtics moment until we made the finals in 2022 against the Warriors, so almost a decade later. Hear me out. The next year, we lose to the Knicks in round 1. The KG and Paul Pierce to the Nets trade that eventually led to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum happened a month after that. So going from thinking we ended LeBron and broke him to LeBron breaking us 1 game later? Oh, the irony. And he continued to do the same to the Celtics for the rest of the decade until mercifully he ended up going to the West. Thank God. But I'm getting ahead of myself. They beat OKC in 5, wins his first of 4 titles, and possibly still counting, who knows by the time of this video. And the rest is literally history. Went to 7 of the next 8 finals, one of them being the greatest comeback in NBA history. Oh, and he won another MVP for his troubles. You could literally draw a dividing line in LeBron's career, pre that Game 6 and post that Game 6. It's high school phenom, and why doesn't he have a ring yet? Super talented, on his way to GOAT level. Immediately after that game. Like, bro, he's still playing right now. This game was 12 years ago. I just finished watching LeBron play for the Lakers right before I hit record. Okay, so I'm about to contradict a lot of what I said earlier in this video. And honestly, the point of this entire series, the whole traumatic sports moment thing, and I'm about to piss off a lot of Celtics fans. This is actually my favorite LeBron game. And I know it shouldn't be. I know it shouldn't be. Is it slightly masochistic? Maybe. But hear me out. I'm a sucker for a hero's journey. In books, in movies, in TV shows, I'm a sucker for it all the time. And this is the ultimate climax of a hero's journey. The literal chosen one against seemingly insurmountable odds, overcoming the enemy, summoning all the strength that he even thought was possible in order to do so, and then going on to prosperity afterwards. It's a fucking fairy tale. And when I can dissociate enough to just not picture the Celtics as the other team, it's a masterpiece. That game is the birth of LeBron James as the way that we know him now, in a way that honestly still persists to this very day. And there's a small part of me that's honored that my team was a part of that. Sue me.